Hi all. I must say that this talk is the most important of all the talks I ever made and also of the talks I shall be making. I will tell why. After myself understanding that, which I am going to tell you in this talk, my perception of the whole world around me and also within me has completely changed. This happened in my 35th year of existence, and I always feel this sharing is the best thing I can give to anyone. I not only understood the meaning of the word consciousness, but also realized that consciousness is the basis of all existence. That understanding consciousness lies at the root of understanding all existence. I doubt, I am not certain, if a certain initiation helped me in quickening my understanding or that initiation is just a coincidence. I don't want to think it a coincidence because immediately after this understanding, Mandukyam came to me through that famous sentence, Mandukyam Ekameva Alam. To understand existence, which is same as breaking all the constraints and limitations, Mandukya Upanishad alone is sufficient. Mandukyam, being the shortest of all the Upanishads, just explains the four states of consciousness every human being is capable of. Three states are actually experienced by each of us daily: waking state, dreaming state, and sleeping state. Okay, let me first say what I mean by the word consciousness. I can only give a private definition and then raise some questions and observations. An entity A is said to be having the quality of consciousness if it can be conscious of some other entity B. Let me speak on this definition. To be conscious of something means to be aware of that something, to know the existence of that something, to have a cognition of that something, to have a gnana of that something. It is said that the Greek word gnosis, English word cognition, and the Sanskrit word gnana came from the same root gna. The English word know is misleading but very powerful word. It means different things. The word gnana is also misunderstood to mean information. Gnana, knowledge, knowing, happens to me in three ways: by reason or thinking or understanding called intellectual knowledge, or by sensory experience called sensory knowledge, or by intuition called intuitional knowledge. Maybe these three knowledges are what are called pratyaksha gnana, paroksha gnana, and aparoksha gnana in Sanskrit. Now, a few observations about the definition I gave. Firstly, if entity A is conscious of entity B, then entity B, need not be conscious of entity B. I am conscious of Sachin Tendulkar, but Sachin Tendulkar is not conscious of me. But we know that Sachin Tendulkar has the capability to be conscious of me. We never know if a rock can be conscious of me or not. Second observation. The word can is used in the above definition but not is. It means there are times when you are not conscious, but even then we say that consciousness exists in you. So this consciousness has this on-off property. What controls this switch? A hint is that sufficient sensory stimulus will on this switch. Our own experience and Kumbhakarna example informs this. Also, at an instant you are conscious, you are not conscious of what all you can be conscious of. Third observation. There are limitations to what an entity can be conscious of. For example, I am not conscious of what is existing in my next room. Why? This question leads to understand the elements necessary for being conscious of something. for consciousness to happen. Fourth observation. I become conscious of not only external object through my senses, but also of things from my so-called subconscious. Just ask yourself this question: does the world exist to me if I do not have consciousness? To contemplate or to meditate means to be conscious of our consciousness. Vedanta proposes that it is not that you are having consciousness, but you are the consciousness. Tattvam asi. Let me raise some very interesting questions. Is it possible to describe the nature of and know the cause of consciousness? Does all entities, not just human beings and animals, have consciousness? If your consciousness and mine are same, why are they two? What is my true identity then? A piece of consciousness? How many such pieces are there then? From where did all these pieces come from? From a single piece? The so-called God can only be all conscious. God cannot be consciousnessless. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says, how can you expect a God, the creator of consciousness, to be consciousnessless? The fact that God is all conscious may be the idea of all-seeing eye in masonry. I have this feeling that God is all powerful only because He is all conscious. Maybe that is why it is called, it is said that knowledge is power. The English word God is not suggestive. The Sanskrit word Paramatman is well suggestive. My personal definition of God is all conscious entity. I really want to know if there is at least one all conscious entity. It is possible that there are more than one such entities. I suggest that you may see the lecture of Dr. Bruce Grayson of Virginia University. The subject is If Consciousness Needs Brain for Its Existence. He gives solid published scientific evidence for that. Just have this question that is this entity that is having consciousness is also the entity that is having the quality of experiencing. Is experience of something possible without being conscious of that something? What are the factors that connect consciousness to a physical body? Now, this entity, which has the quality of consciousness, the quality of experiencing, also appears to be having the quality of willing. How can a thing which is not conscious of something will that something? To will something means to want, wish that something to be. Is it possible to will if not through a thought? Is not will and therefore thought necessary for action? Is to will same as to think? I am extremely delighted when Swami Sivananda of the Divine Life Society wrote that the only three functions of the human mind are to know, to be conscious, to feel, to experience, and to desire, to will. I think the Sanskrit words Gnana, Anubhava, and Sankalpa are more pinpointed and clear. This quality of Sankalping hints at the vital idea or fact of free will. Why should some entity have Sankalpa Shakti at all? When I studied with this background, texts like Tripura Rahasya, Yoga Vasishta, Bhagavad Gita, Bible, Ramakrishna Gospel, Ramana Maharshi, in fact some mystical traditions of all religions, things appeared very different. It is possible for me to eliminate the whole world in 1 minute by going into sleeping state simply. So-called liberation is to be conscious of the sleeping state. We don't remember anything of deep sleep even though we remember things from dreaming state. With this understanding, it becomes easy to know how to reach that fourth state of moksha, because we will understand very easily what is preventing me from going to that state. Then it is only a matter of will, maybe another faculty of consciousness. Thank you.